I've been a tennis coach for over 24 years. Here are key lessons I would go back and teach my younger self to be a more successful coach. Lesson 1, set work boundaries. Coaching can take over your entire life if you let it. I used to take every single lesson request, no matter what day or time a player asked for. I would work 7 days a week. In the end, I had no time for friends or family, and I was absolutely burnt out. I would go back and tell my younger self, decide on your non-negotiable days. A more rested and happier coach is a coach who will work a lot longer. Lesson number 2 is don't be afraid to fire players. Some players and parents just drain the energy from you. They just disrespect your time. I once had a national level player who was constantly late for practice. They would constantly also try and renegotiate the fee that they paid me. This left me feeling disrespected, and despite the fact they were a high level player, it left me feeling drained. If a player or parent is draining your energy, walk away. At the end of the day, the chances are the player is going to leave anyway. Why go through the stress and the anxiety of trying to keep the player happy when they're constantly disrespecting you? Coaching more hours doesn't mean better results. More hours on court doesn't equal more success. Early on, I thought the best coaches worked the most hours. But then I met an elite national level coach and they worked half the hours I did. They talked to me about quality over quantity. Work less and be more productive. Lesson number 4, burnout is a choice. Try to manage your energy. Most coaches, me especially, ignored it until it was too late. I hit a point I was constantly snapping at players. I didn't enjoy going into work, and tennis coaching just wasn't fun no more. Recognize the signs of fatigue, snapping at players, the lack of interest, and the fact that you don't enjoy tennis probably means it's time for the break. Lesson number 5, loving tennis just isn't enough. You need a sustainable career plan. You have to love the art of coaching. I've worked with and I've mentored so many tennis coaches over the years who don't treat their work as a business. These coaches are constantly struggling financially. I myself at the very start did not treat my work as a business. You need to have a business plan. You need to be able to track and measure your income. You have to understand things like marketing and planning. Just because you love tennis doesn't mean you can run a tennis business. Lesson number 6, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your players. Tennis coaches' health impacts their behavior. I used to skip meals, rely on coffee, have late nights, and eat lots of junk food. My weight ballooned, my health deteriorated, and I became really unhappy. Working anti-social hours, not eating correctly, and relying on things like caffeine and fast food to get you through long coaching days, it has a detrimental impact on your coaching. Ensure you have time for yourself, you eat a well-balanced meal, and you're not constantly working anti-social hours. Lesson number 7, protect your voice. It's your biggest asset. A great majority of my early coaching, I became the shouty coach. I would bellow and shout over multiple courts in order to control the players. What I quickly found, however, was players just got used to me shouting. Therefore, every time I shouted, players would just see it as background noise. Over the past few years, I've learned how to manipulate my pitch and tone of my voice. If I want a player to really get a message, I speak quietly and slowly. If I want to motivate a player, I will speak to them directly. Shouting and just using this big, loud scouse voice that I have isn't as effective as I once thought. I protect my voice now and I use it with value. If I do have to use my voice, I need to make sure it has a positive impact on the player. Lesson number 8, time off is proactive. It's not laziness. For years, I struggled with time off. I would feel guilty for taking time away from tennis. Other coaches are working. If I'm not marketing or if I'm not on social media, I'm losing business. These are all unhealthy obsessions of mine. I now ensure if I have a day off that I don't turn on my phone. I separate my business and personal life. I make sure that my time off I spend with my family or relaxing. If I have my phone at hand, I know there's going to be a temptation to open Instagram or YouTube, check on my analytics, reply to comments, engage with potential customers. But all that happens is I end up burning out. I now ensure that if I have time away, it's pretty much time away. You'll notice on YouTube and other social media platforms that I'll have a couple of weeks off where I don't post content. I used to stress and get really anxious thinking that the algorithm will forget about me. What I found in those moments is, believe it or not, my accounts grew because people were engaging with my content and they weren't overwhelmed by constant flow of new information. Lesson number 9, avoid being a tennis coach. Expand your knowledge. When I first started coaching, my first 18 years as a coach, I pretty much just did coach education involved in tennis. Over the past few years, I've probably learned more about being a better coach from other sports. By getting myself out my comfort zone, working in other areas, it's definitely extended my skill set. Don't just think inside your bubble, look outside of your sport and get into those uncomfortable areas. There's lots to learn from different sports. Don't just stick to tennis. Lesson number 10, players will forget what you told them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. We believe that tennis coaching is just passing knowledge on to players. But I quickly found out that players don't really remember the X's or the O's in which I teach them, but they remember the impact that I had on them personally. Tennis is much more than teaching a player how to hit a forehand. It's building that deeper connection with your players. Which lesson hit you the hardest? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to be a better tennis coach, check out my Tennis Coach Academy in the link below.